So we're now going to start assembling the components for the concealed cistern. So this cistern actually goes in there, in that unit, so it's actually out of sight. So it's a side entry inlet valve. So we've got a rubber washer there on the inside, and then a plastic washer for the outside, and then a nut. So the rubber washer goes on the inside, the plastic washer on the outside, and then we just tighten that nut up. And you don't need any form of sealant on there whatsoever. It'll seal perfectly well just with the rubber washer that's supplied with it. So I'll just give that a nip up with the adjustable. And obviously, because this is only plastic, you don't need to go mad when you're tightening it. So because I've not piped this up yet, I'm now going to fit a service valve to the end of the water inlet valve, and that'll just screw on there. So I can get that somewhere near straight, and then just tighten that up again with the adjustable spanner. So we can now just pipe that up with a 15mm pipe, and then we're good to go. That'll start filling until the water inlet valve shuts off. So now we need to fit the flush valve. The large rubber washer stays there on the inside. So we're going to fit it that way. So once you push that through, you can then turn it upside down. And then you just need to put your plastic washer on there, and then tighten up the large plastic nuts. The toilet unit is quite clever in that on the back of it we've got these special lugs, and all we need to do is push that on there, push it down, and that's the actual base panel for the unit. The other panel that goes on here, which holds the push button, is just a simple push on, and that will locate into those plastic lugs there. So what we need to do now is fasten the cistern into the toilet, which we'll do in a minute. But we also need to get the toilet pan in the correct position. And a good tip for whenever you're doing a job like this is to save the short end panel off the bath, because you can put the toilet on it and you can slide it anywhere. If you try sliding the toilet on the tiles, you'll probably damage the tiles. I do know several people that have installed toilets, and when they put the toilet down on the tile and moved the toilet, it has damaged the tile, so you've got to be aware of that. So I've now got the toilet pan somewhere where I need it. I'm just going to check the distance from each side, and it's almost right there because I did previously put a pencil mark on here. So I've got a pencil mark on the toilet, and I've got a pencil mark on the actual panel. You need to make sure that your panel's pushed all the way down when you do this. Now at the back of the toilet we have a waste pipe, and we also have the water inlet pipe which comes from the cistern, and we need to connect those two pipes up, but obviously this panel's in the way, so we need to make some holes in this panel. So I'm just going to draw a faint pencil line around it. I've now got a line where the toilet's actually going to be fitting on that board. If you look there, you can see that the water inlet pipe is approximately 10mm down from that mark, which is about there. And also the soil pipe connection is down there. So if you now look at this line, we only actually need to cut about there and across there, and then cut virtually straight down. So I've now cut that shape out roughly using the jigsaw. So I can now slide that back into position. Now when we push the toilet back, you can see that none of the cut that we made is showing, and we can now get down the back to make the connections for the soil pipe and for the water pipe from the cistern. So I'm now just going to roughly mark where the back plate needs to be for the cistern. And it's roughly level there. So now if we undo these nuts, we can hang the cistern on there. So now if I slide the panel back on, I can then get some indication of how long I need to cut this pipe. So now I'm just going to cut that off. I'm now going to fix this toilet pan down to the floor. To do this, I bought a Fisher pan fixing kit, which comprises of a couple of sturdy plastic brackets like that and some screws, and that piece there actually goes through the sanitary ware, and then the screw goes through it, and then afterwards you put a cover on there. So we just need to fix this to the toilet temporarily. So we're going to get it at a level where it's just above the level of the actual sanitary ware. And you'll see why I'm doing that in a minute. So I'll just screw that in approximately there. And it doesn't need to be really tight, but you can see that it is actually proud of the toilet pan. And you'll also notice that they're not actually square, but they are very strong brackets, so they can take a fair bit of bending. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get some mammoth tape, which is very sticky tape, and I'm going to cut off 2 pieces. And I'm going to put one piece on there, and one piece on there. So what I've done is I've put the pan down in position here, and then I've pressed on it, and then I've just removed the 2 screws that we put in earlier. Hopefully when I remove the pan now, the 2 brackets will be stuck to the tiles. And as you can see, the 2 brackets are stuck. So we now know where we need to drill to fix those 2 brackets to secure the toilet down properly. Also, when you get it back in position, there are also plenty of holes that you can pick up, so if a couple of mil out in any direction, it doesn't really matter. You're still going to be able to get your fixing screws in. So because this is a wooden floor, I'm just going to use a standard masonry bit to drill through the tile, and then I'm just going to use a wood screw to secure the brackets. There's been a slight change of plan now in the fact that the toilet pan that we bought before off eBay seems to be faulty, and the actual spigot that comes out of the back of it, where you connect your flexible pan connector onto, every time you push it on it keeps springing off, and there's no way I can get it to stick. So instead of messing about with it, what I've done is I've gone and bought a new toilet. So now we have to fit this one. It's slightly different than the old one that had the brackets that fixed to the floor, but at least you know how to do that now if you get that kind of toilet. But this time, this one actually screws directly down to the floor. So I need to drill through there, spot the holes, and then drill straight through, and then we can screw directly into the wooden floor beneath, and we can then fix this toilet in position. So I'll just mark it using a small masonry bit to begin with. So once we've spotted through there, we can then lift the toilet pan out. And we can now see where to drill our holes. So you can actually see this when the toilet's in position. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to connect the flexi connector. So that end goes on the spigot at the back of the toilet, and that end connects into a pipe that's into the soil stack. And all we do with these is push them straight on. And that's it. If you get one that keeps springing off all the time, you've probably got a faulty toilet like I had. So you're better off going buying a new toilet, to be honest, rather than messing about with it. And we can now push this seal into position. To make it easier, I'm just going to give it a spray with some silicone. So to make it a bit easier, I'm just going to use a piece of wood to push it in. So I've now just fitted the toilet seat. So now I'm going to slide the back panel back in. And then we have another panel that fits up the top, and that just pushes in using these special clips. So now we've got that on, we can now lift up the toilet seat, and we can position the flush button somewhere where the toilet seat isn't going to obscure it. So I'll probably just fit it about there. I'll just drill a pilot hole through first. So I've just enlarged the hole using a 16mm drill bit, and now that will just push straight onto there. So now at the back we're going to fit this lock nut, and we're just going to tighten that up. And once we've done that, we just need to click that button in there and just press that onto the actual flush button itself. Now when we press the button, we get the flush.